New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev BRZ and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And hello again, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you over here.
Rev Z right here.
And this is Ministers Talking Shit for Friday, September. Here we go. It's after Labor Day. September 5th, 2025. Wow. Here we go. It's September.
Yeah, well, and yes, and the fall is in the air here in Colorado. It's like 50 degrees, 55 degrees this morning here.
Yep.
So the times they do be a changing.
Exactly. I was up in the mountains on Wednesday evening, and little bit of yellow coming out in the aspens so, and not even that high, but just a little bit of yellow coming out. So if you like colors, if you like leaf colors, folks, come to Colorado. Come later in September and come spend some time and get stuck in traffic in the mountains. If you've never been stuck in a multi-hour traffic jam in the mountains because there's too many people trying to go look at leaves, come to Colorado. It's a blast.
You know what? Just make sure you have a full tank of gas.
Yes, exactly. I saw a report. We're going to start today on a lighter note, folks. I saw a report. The sheriff's departments and state police have been putting out reminders that it is illegal to park on the roadway and in many of the seeming pull-offs near Guanella Pass. Now, those that don't live in Colorado, Guanella Pass is world famous for its leaf peeping opportunities and limited parking. And so they've begun warning people already that if you park in front of a no parking sign, you're going to get towed. If you park and block the gates to the emergency access at the parking areas, you're going to get towed. If you are in any way parking on the side of the road, you can expect to get ticketed and or towed, depending on the severity of your mispark.
Yeah. It's gonna get crazy. Yeah, and speaking of fall is always the start of the NFL season, and exactly. We started last night in earnest, and the Eagles played the Cowboys, and it was a shootout. I think the first 4 times each team touched the ball, there was a score. But the Philadelphia Eagles pulled it out 24-20, I think the final score was. So it's a good game. Then they set the stage for a very full NFL season starting today. I mean, this week they'll have a game today, and then they got all the suites on Sunday. So for anyone that's a football fan, buckle up. If your spouse is not a football fan, just buy them a good dinner or give them some flowers and just say, I love you.
I can see what you're planning. So, I figure, okay, football season has started. I'll start paying attention in, I don't know, a couple months. Unless something really crazy happens. But what happened to our Bucks? What happened to our Bucks? That's
which Bucks? The
Buffaloes. See you.
The Tampa Bay? Oh, Buffaloes. Oh yeah, the Buffs. I was thinking. I thought you said Bucks, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, they had a good beat on that game. That game should have been won by them, but the offense was not kicking at high power, and the defense was there, but it wasn't all the way there. I mean, Georgia Tech came in with some good game plan, and they just executed a little bit better. I think both teams were, fairly equal. Just it came down to execution and that first game jitters.
I imagine I imagine it's not going to be a fun first meeting of the week tomorrow for the Buffs.
No, trust me, they already been meeting, I'm sure.
It'll be interesting to see what happens there now that we're kind of like I don't know, it's almost like Dion point two at this point from my perspective. He got here, he brought his kids in, it was the Sanders family there for a bit, and now, well, Pops is on his own and got to build a team without his boys. So it'll be really
the one thing he's done, he's brought in Hall of Fame coaches. He brought Eric, I forget the running back coach. He got Warren Sapp. He has a cadre of serious NFL Hall of Famers coaching. So he's got the coaching. It's just now, and I think he got the kids. He's just got to motivate them, and as all coaches will tell you, at the end of the day, you got to go play the game, right? So if you're not playing the game, I can give you everything I got. But if you're not playing the game and you don't have the heart and you don't have the determination and you don't have the grit, which is what football is about, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
So
there it is, folks. There's our football recap for the week.
And speaking of grit, I'm gonna go down south in Georgia, where I'm sure they got plenty of grits. And did you see where they took 450 people? ICE took 450 people from a Hyundai camp. I mean, a company.
Yes.
Manufacturing plant.
Yep.
Is that not the whole plant? Is that plant going to shut down now?
Well, the report I saw said that the raid halted construction of the factory, and it was a factory that was being built to produce batteries for electric vehicles. Okay. So it sounds to me like it wasn't actually up and running. That it was, and it wasn't. So details are really unclear from the reports that I found. One of them said Hyundai is cooperating with law enforcement and is committed to abiding by all labor and immigration regulations. And so it sounds more like it was a construction site that was raided, less of a car factory.
Okay.
And when it is producing for Hyundai, it'll be producing electric batteries. But 450
that's
people.
Interesting, given.
I think this is a really interesting question because there is, when we start to see the longevity of the plan that's in place,
it
is very difficult to say that parts of this are not truly necessary for everyone's sake. Now, identifying who has come here legally and who has come here illegally, I think, is important. How we treat people, how those people are handled, how those people are found, how those people are determined are very different conversations. And unfortunately, I'm still seeing, it's interesting, I'm not seeing as many masks on ICE agents in reporting, at least. Maybe they've all been instructed, when you see a camera, pull your mask down or something. I don't know. But it seems like there are more images of ICE and associated law enforcement agencies showing their faces. And the point I'm going to get to here is that I think there has to be a better way than just raiding a facility and rounding up a shitload of people. Out of that 450, how many of them are really here illegally? We don't know, and they don't know, and they're just rounding up anybody.
Exactly.
And that's the scary part. They're just rounding up anybody that looks and fits the description. And to me, that's profiling, and that's racial profiling.
And yeah, because I was going to say, as a black man, I understand they fit the description. Pick them up, and that means the skin is dark, and okay, that's the description. Grab them.
Yep.
And so, like you said, that whole thing of disrupting families or disrupting lives. Right, because they're not going in saying, "Let me see your ID." Right, they're going in rounding up. Right, and we'll sort out all the ID stuff later. But at that point, you've already disrupted people's families. You've caused people stress. Not to mention that they're shutting down an electric battery where they've already said we're pumping gas and digging coal in this administration. We're not too concerned with this electrical stuff. Right, may not have had anything to do with it, but it sure fits, as you said, the long game that's been perpetrated by this administration. So it'll be quite interesting to see what's going on. Yeah, what's going and we'll see.
Yeah, there was another raid.
Go ahead.
I was going to say there was another raid that also happened. And again, what we're doing is we're separating hardworking people at this point from their families. Mm-hmm. I'm all for if people here illegally are criminals or doing all kinds of mean, nasty, horrible things. I'm all for identifying and incarcerating those that are creating great disturbance in our society. However, in New York State yesterday, also around 70 people were detained and eventually, I believe, arrested. This report says in a nutritional bar confectioner's plant in Cato, New York, and all upwards of 70 employees were questioned. All were arrested and taken to a nearby Oswego detention center. We're separating families from hardworking people that truthfully are doing jobs that I don't think most Americans actually want to do. Maybe they do, but I don't see many people with red hats standing in line to go pick food in California or build a factory in Georgia or work at a food processing factory in New York City or New York State. And I know these are just a few drops in a much huger problem. I think we got something to do.
Yeah, well, and as we talk about work, right? The employment numbers came out for August. And we added 22,000 jobs, short of what was expected. Now, this is after the current administration has got a new labor statistics guy. I figured the numbers would be fixed by now, right? I mean, that's why they let the other person go, saying that the numbers was whatever, and now they're not what expected. And the question really becomes now, what headwind are we sailing into here?
Yeah.
We're picking up people who are working. We're not hiring as many people as expected or anticipated, and needing to keep the factories and the country running at an optimal level. So now what's next?
Yep. And the more you do this, everywhere you go, the more people are going to be scared and afraid to go to work.
Exactly.
It's only a matter of time. I saw another report that right now, to anybody that studies what's going on in America over the last 20 or 30 years, and if you've read anything by Valerie Kaur, you're going to understand this next story. But a young, sick truck driver made an illegal U-turn on a highway in Florida, which caused the death of 3 locals. Now, the driver is actually an American-born, so he's American-born, and the story I saw, and it caused a backlash of anti-Sikhism again, which we see every time there is any sort of disaster or national tragedy. And the story I said, this is happening nationwide at this point. We are seeing drivers of the Sikh religion being persecuted and targeted across the nation simply because of a false narrative about who these folks are.
You know, we are turning into, it appears, a real dictatorial, autocratic, pick one that fits, military style way of life here, right? The president now wants to change the Department of Defense to the Department of War.
I saw that one. Yep.
I mean, defense is one thing, war is another. I don't know how, and being from a group of people who understand the power of words, if you will, that seems like a no-no. Which to me says anyone that deals with us across the globe will start taking those same postures. Now, on a looking at war and stuff, I just saw something come across my feed where there's a new video that Hamas set out of some of the Israeli, or at least one Israeli hostage, as they continue to have war in Gaza. Yeah, there's a video. Now, I don't know if it's been, it came out today. I don't know if it's been collaborated in terms of when it was taken, right? But out of all of the efforts, right, that are going on and supposedly in Gaza and that are going on supposedly in Ukraine, those wars are nowhere near, it appears, to cease, right? With a ceasefire, with a peace, or with nothing, right? And so now we move from defense, now we move to the Department of War. I mean, we're setting a precedent, and we're creating an environment that is going to produce exactly what we're indicating we don't want: war.
And Russia made a statement that, and this is a quote from their foreign ministry, Russia does not intend to discuss unacceptable foreign intervention in Ukraine in any form whatsoever. Western war instigators view Ukraine as a testing ground for their military development. So yes, the drums are beating.
Yes.
And I think it's silly to ignore it.
Without a doubt.
I do believe there is a part of the puzzle that requires the monastic, monk-like prayer vigil for peace and works in consciousness only. But I think there also has to be that aspect of who we are and what we do that takes that consciousness into the conversations and into the media and into the voting booth, and takes that consciousness into the world in a way that it can be perhaps measured even, and therefore validated as demonstratable.
Well, and you mentioned that magic word to me, history, right? And I'm not sure how many people are students of history, but when you look at wars from a historical standpoint and how they got started and how they spread and how they got deadly, we look at what we got now. Right now, that we just talked a little bit about unemployment. They say unemployment now is at the highest level it's been in the last 4 years. We got wars and rumors of wars. We got posturing by our country to change from defense to war. You had just a couple of days ago, you had Putin, Xi, and Kim Jong-un in China doing their parading of their war stuff. We did ours, right? Now they did theirs, and it looks like they got some drone submarines, and they were showing laser missiles, and they were showing all this stuff that looked pretty high tech and deadly. And so we know just from being in elementary school in the playground, if you start talking selling a bunch of wolf tickets, pretty soon somebody gonna cash one of them tickets. And we're gonna go into some serious war. It's gonna then unemployment is gonna go away. We're gonna be on this, making bombs, sending people to war. I mean, God forbid that to happen. But when we look in history at most of these wars, especially if you look at 1 and 2 and the Korean War, that's what happened. Same thing. You might even say that same thing for the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
It will be. And there's hesitation in my voice because there is a deep part of me that, let's call it a sense of lament. That I don't have a bigger voice in a bigger arena, that New Thought as a whole doesn't have a bigger voice in a bigger arena to be heard, to be listened to, I guess, in the bigger picture of all this. Because unfortunately, I look out into the world and I don't see, and you and I have been talking about this forever, and I know you're already hitting on the vibe, right? We need a think tank, and a New Thought think tank that can that is funded and given reign to not only craft policy statements, but get in and be a part of the peace machine, rather than and let's bring back Dennis Kucinich, let's bring back Mary, let's bring back all the people who've been preaching for a Department of Peace for decades now. And what fun would it be to actually be part of a group that was able to institute something like that?
And one of the challenges we face as New Thoughters, if you will, our message has been co-opted. Our message has been co-opted by the I'll use the thing, the military industrial complex. And it I
It's
had to
been
do it. I
co-opted.
had to
Wait
do
a
it.
minute. It's been co-opted by the personal coaching industry too. So
Yeah,
both
yeah.
sides of it.
Both sides. Yeah, no, and I was using that as a ubiquitous statement, right? Because when the military complex, everything feeds that machine. But when you look at the commercials, when you look at uh the personal growth stuff, that like when personal growth ideology was big in the late 80s and early 90s, it was poo-pooed, right? Nobody really listened. They were looking at them as quacks and money makers and you know
Yeah.
charlatans and all kinds of things. There were a few people who stood out who had gone through some other kinds of adventures, if you will, to be notarized. But for the large majority, a lot of it, they were just pumping this stuff out, and it was like people saying it was quackery. Now, those same ideologies, those same wordage, those same images, those same rah-rahs to get you pumped to do a thing is mainstream. When
Yeah.
you start hearing people on commercials saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to manifest," or
Yeah.
I'm going to vision, or I'm going to meditate, those things were looked at as like, woo woo, what is that? And you can't go anywhere, major corporation all the way down, that is not utilizing that language, and in a lot of cases, those the real uh apparatuses to make those things happen.
Okay. So, and I want to tag to that because what I also see is now there's a whole industry in helping you understand why you don't get it right. There's a whole industry helping you to understand why you can't manifest and why that shit doesn't work and this stuff, and you got to do it this way and don't do it that way. And right, there's all that as well. So again, another level of co-opting. But so does that mean not that the goal has been accomplished, but the road has been paved? That the road has been paved, and corporations are using the language. So is it a matter of a waiting game for that consciousness to empower itself, to activate itself? You and I have talked about that. It's not an on-off switch. You learn this stuff and it takes a while, and you go through phases and stages of your transformation, of your awakening, and so on and so forth. So do we just keep pushing and wait for the companies, wait for Google to catch up? Tesla just announced that they're going to give Elon $1 trillion, make him a trillionaire. Like, come on, ego. So is that not just the ultimate ego play in the world? Yeah. And they bought a substantial amount of XAI, by the way, in the same deal. Not only did they guarantee him a bigger benefit package. So is this not alive somewhere in Tesla's environment, company, organization? I don't know.
Well, I think it's an interesting statement and concept to ponder. And I think, if we understand natural law, right, we are at that stage, I believe, where anything is possible. Now, and I'm not saying that tongue in cheek. I'm saying, as we just indicated, the seeds have been planted in corporations and in any industry you want to pick. So now, in my mind, what we're waiting on, or what we're looking at, is the natural process of how is this stuff cultivated, and how is it weeded, and how is it fed so that it grows from a sapling into a great big redwood tree, right? And I think the stage is set. We got the Gen Zers coming in who are in tune in a lot of ways with these principles of new thought.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, in another 5 years, they're going to be the leading edge of those guys are going to be in a position to start heading corporations and start moving into politics and moving into education and moving into healthcare. I mean, we don't even want to talk about healthcare. If you saw that debauchery of Robert F. Kennedy on TV the other day, he was in front of Congress talking about God knows what. I mean, we've gotten to a point now where we're in that chaotic stage and we're waiting for the new order, not the new world order, but the new order, which is what happens when chaos is just the preliminary forerunner of a new order. And so right now we are in complete chaos and we're looking for the new order to begin to emerge. And I think that's where we are. And so, I mean, when we get the Secretary of Health on television saying we're going to not give smallpox and measles, and we're not even talking about COVID. I mean, we're talking about stuff we know that's been going on for 50, 60, 70 years, and they want to cut it out.
Yes.
Who's going to send their kids to school with all that going on?
That's, I think, part of the plan. I ain't sending my kid to school. I'll keep my kid home, which allows for and justifies that that good old fashioned white Christian homeschooling. But I hear the vision that you're speaking. And I like it, and I want to somehow get it in the hearts and the ears of the younger generations that they are absolutely necessary. I said something to a young adult recently that was kind of down and on it all, and I said, "Hey, we need people that are going to be prepared to rebuild, because this ain't going to last forever, and it might be a really ugly battlefield when it's over." The land will be scarred and the people will be scarred, and we will need a generation of people to put it all back together. And we need that generation, I believe, that we would benefit by that generation being inspired by the New Thought philosophy.
Yeah. And I mean, because you look at this generation, right? They are poised from a technological standpoint, right? Because that's all they know. They've been immersed in this stuff from the day they were born, right? Yep. And now they those on the leading edge of it have been able to get out here and maneuver in the world a little bit, and they see, well, I can take things lightly, but hell, I can't take everything lightly, because this, the rolling truck is, coming down the hill, and if I don't get out the way or have a way of stopping it, I'm going to get smashed. And so now, just like with all of us, as we get older, our ideological ways have to start moving towards a practical application of how do we make this thing, whatever that thing is, a reality. Whether it's better work environments, more work-life balance, more diplomatic relationships with other people, right? It's great to say, yeah, let's have diplomatic relationships, but okay, what are we doing and how are we implementing diplomatic protocol? And I need someone at the table that has a more inclusive mindset than someone who's set on a older industrial military complex approach to life. Even though we are in high tech, most of these leaders come from the military complex.
Yep. There's on our route around our neighborhood where we walk our dogs, there's one house. They got great wildflower kind of gardens and cactus in the city and different things, and it's a beautiful garden. And right square in the center of it, there's a blue yard sign, and it's fairly obvious without being grotesque. And it just says, we're not going back. And I think that is the biggest reminder I want people to, I just figured, there it is. I just figured it out. Okay, hold on. Here we go, folks. It's just like Mercury retrograde. What we're seeing is not the appearance, is not the truth. The appearance is that we're moving backwards. The appearance is that we're moving backwards politically. The appearance is that we're moving backwards in our social services and our ability to be compassionate and to help people. And especially if you were on the very left side of the equation, as it were, it appears like things are going backwards, going to hell in a handbasket. And it's only an appearance. The planet is not moving backwards. It's not possible. We have to be moving forward. And that's the part we got to hold on to, is really hold on to that. Wow. Yeah, it might, but we're moving forward. We have to be moving forward. We cannot be going back. We're not going back. We just got to keep reminding each other of that, I guess.
Yeah, and one thing I think we have to really begin to take on, and especially those who, we have a lot of naysayers, and this is not naysaying what we're attempting to do here on this program. We're here in an attempt not to necessarily call out white privilege or black privilege or any kind of privilege, right? Because that'll always exist. There'll always be those who have more of something than someone else. And by definition, they'll have a little more access. We won't call it privilege. We'll call it more access to certain things than others. But what we are advocating, what we are trying to bring to the forefront is that there is an inherent balance, give and take, ebb and flow in the universe that keeps it alive. Just look at your body. There's an ebb and flow. You can't just continue to eat and not let out. I know that's kind of a bad example, but I want to make the point that if you continue to eat and there's no let out, there's no balance going on, there will be serious problems and complications for that entity to continue. And that's where we are in this country, I believe. We have gotten totally out of balance in every system, and every system comes together to make the whole. Now, if every system in the whole is bad, then the whole is going to get the end results of that pretty soon. And so we have to begin to pay attention. We have to begin to be intentional. We have to begin to, however boldly or under the covers you have to be, to say, I am looking for a way, as we say all the time, to make a world that works for all. That means the rocks to the highest intelligent individual who's making some AI stuff, let's say, and I'm just picking that randomly. But we have to begin to understand, like, we got all these rare earth minerals that we are trying to extract now, and they're only in certain places. And so now we got wars and rumors of wars going over there because they want to grab all these rare earth minerals. And we have to begin to respect the planet and respect the people and respect the process so that we begin to get back in balance.
Reverend. Yes. Excuse me. Yes. We're going to keep saying it, folks. We're going to keep saying it. We're going to keep saying it. And, I said earlier that I lament I didn't have a bigger voice in certain arenas. But what I know is we both do have a voice. And the people watching have a voice. And the people that understand this have a voice. And what I sense and what I want to hear now is more people speaking the truth. Yeah. And shameless plug of the day, we got a great opportunity for you to come play and be part of the conversation. LinkedIn Spirit, join in the joy, a new thought gathering for connection, collaboration, and community. It's happening next weekend. This time next week, Z, will be, well, we hopefully, yeah. We're not going to be here next week, folks.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second. So, but if you look at the lineup of people that are on this bill, you know what I like? I think I see more color than I see white here, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I see a blend of humanity. I see a spectrum, a wide representation of various new thought upbringings and new thought expressions, let's call them. And I've lost that. There we go. So we would love to have you visit us and join us next week in Vegas, folks. It's going to be a hootenanny of a good time. Workshops start Friday morning, concert with Gary Lynn Floyd Friday evening, workshops and talks all day Saturday. You and I are both speaking on Saturday, as well as a number of other New Thought Media Network hosts and luminaries, as it were. We would love to have you join us. You can learn more at their website, lasvegascsl.org. And yeah, so Z, we're not going to be here next week. I'm not going to tell people we do have one confirmed special guest host for you next week, folks. Dr. Bill Marcioni is going to be here, and he'll be here with someone. We just don't know who yet. But
hopefully that'll entice people to watch. Yeah, I was going to say, hopefully that entice people to watch just to see who it is, surprise guest.
And, after every so often, it's good to listen to other people. This is one of my other new kicks, Z. I realized this recently. I said something to my wife about it, and I am firmly committed, and I think everyone would benefit if we invest time every day in listening to the voice of the one, to listening to someone that is speaking truth, other than ourselves, other than our own mind, other than that voice inside of us, listening to how others are expressing it, and finding those avenues, channels, speakers, preachers, teachers, authors, whatever it may be. There is a wealth of opportunity at our very fingertips right now. And when listen outside your box, listen outside of your circle of influence as it is, to start to gather where things continue to show up that are saying the same thing, because you are going to find this philosophy everywhere if you listen.
Yeah, and I'd ask those to just stay tuned. I'm working on something that highlights that point from an ancient standpoint, that says when you look at any ancient culture, it was based on awareness, observation, and meditation, or reflection, or pick a word that means I need to look at this thing from all sides to understand it. Because when you look at the evolution of consciousness, which means the evolution of humanity, it started from a point of observation. There's nothing of awareness first. There was when we were back in the hunter-gatherer point, and I know I'm going off the more than it seems like, but there was an awareness that if I'm out here and I'm not protected, a lion, a bear, a tiger, or something may come and get me. So I need to be aware of that first. And then once I'm aware of it, now I start looking at observations as to how does the lion move? How do I move? And then I reflect on that, and then I begin to put things in place for us to coexist in this land. And that's where we are right now, I believe. And so we, as humans, we need to, as inhabitants of the earth, not just humans, the plant, the animals, everything, we have to begin to cast a new vision and become aware of everything and plan accordingly so that everything flourishes and grows. Everything is going to transition. We know that. So let's take that off the table, because that's going to happen. So now we look at how do we begin to create an environment where we can enjoy and live as long as we can in this environment that we have. Yes. I'm off my soapbox.
Okay. Right on. Thank you. We're about to run out of time. Let's give a couple quick shout outs. Carl in Chicago, good to see you, dear one. Brother Michael in Utah, good to see you, dear one. And looking forward to seeing you in just a few weeks. 4 weeks. Yeah, just about 4 weeks at the ANTN summer retreat. I can't call it summer retreat. I'm not supposed to call it summer retreat. I always want to call it a summer retreat. It's still, as long as it doesn't rain, it still feels like it's summer in Missouri when we're there. So, all right, folks, we're going to get out of here for now. Thanks for joining us. Please like, share, subscribe. Let your friends and family know what we're doing here on the New Thought Media Network. Until next time, I wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.